Hello, good morning, everyone. How are you today? Welcome to our webinar, proudly hosted by Pointstar Consulting and NetGain, with the topic Mastering the Month and Close: How to Simplify Financial Processes in NetSuite Without Switching Systems. I'm Ayu, your MC for today. Before we begin, I'd like to highlight an exciting insight. According to a recent report by the Business Times Singapore, more than 70% of mid-sized companies in the region face delays in financial reporting due to disconnected systems and manual reconciliation processes. At the same time, CFOs are under pressure to cut costs, gain real-time visibility, and close the books faster, all while keeping lean teams. That's exactly what today's webinar is about. We will help you understand how to overcome these month-end bottlenecks without switching systems with Pointstar Consulting and NetGain. Here's what we have lined up for you. We will talk about the biggest challenges in the month-end close. We will learn how to simplify and automate the close processes in NetSuite. And we will see a live demo of how NetGain makes it all work seamlessly. You will encouraged to submit questions throughout via the Zoom Q&A chat, and we will cover it at the end. We will also select the best questions to get a special gift from us. Also, make sure to fill out the feedback survey form shown on your screen now for a chance to win our lucky draw at the end of this session. The webinar is being recorded, and we will send the recording to all participants after the event. Okay, so without further ado, let's begin. Please join me in welcoming William from Pointstar Consulting, as he will kick us off by introducing Pointstar Consulting and give us context for today's discussion. Calling out William here. Hi, William.
Hi,
Good
Ayu. Thank you
morning.
for the introductions.
Okay. Yeah, so I will pass it over to you, William.
Sure. Hi, good morning, everyone. I really appreciate taking the time away from your busy schedule today to join our webinar today. I think the webinar today does touch a lot of CFO, right? And we know, I think many of us today that joining the webinar today, would have experienced a lot around the time taken and the complexity around a month-end close process, right? And today, we would like to present, we're inviting NetGain today because we do believe that they have a solution that can solve some of the issues relating to month-end close activities, right? But before I pass it on to NetGain to do introduction themselves, I'm going to do a quick intro to many of you joining today. Let me just share my screen quickly. Okay, I hope everyone can see my screen. Okay, let me start. So to many of you that, probably hearing Pointstar the first time, we are actually a company based in Singapore. We have more than 15 years experience with NetSuite. We have regional offices around the regions, including Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, and stretching all the way to Vietnam, Thailand, China, Japan, and Korea. And, I think to date we have about 500 successful projects, about 200 plus customers. We also have around 200 certified consultants from many different countries. And we like to joke that we are the United Nations of NetSuite because owing to a lot of different nationality and cultures within our team, right? And these are some of social we partner with. Obviously, NetSuite being our bread and butter. And then of course we work with a lot of other solutions, and one of them being NetGain, who will be presenting today. A little bit about of our words. We're very proud that we received another award again last year as the partner of the year, and really we owe it to a lot of our customers just joining our webinar today. And you look forward to growing strong with many of you as well. And why Pointstar and NetGain, right? And I think we've been partnering with NetGain probably more than 6 years because we recognize the importance of what NetGain team bringing to the table. I think if we can highlight it, obviously NetGain has a very strong domain expertise within financial accounting. And whenever we come to office of CFO, they do provide a lot of solutions that are natively built within NetSuite, right? So imagine you do not have to switch between the system to do certain things. It's all built within NetSuite. It feels and looks like NetSuite, right? If nobody say it's a NetGain, nobody will even know about it, right? And of course, with a lot of solutions to bridge the gaps that currently exist within NetSuite. You are talking about fixed asset management, lease management, right? Loan management, and what we're going to discuss today around close management and transaction matching. So, a lot of these solutions you probably are very familiar with that exist within NetSuite, but you do understand that there's a limitation within some of the solutions that NetSuite can provide as well. And that's when NetGain come into play. They have a very strong domain within financial accounting practices. They are very familiar with the IFRS, GAAP, or whatever standard they are in the world. So yeah, and basically, what we're hoping to do today is to all that attend the webinar today to walk away, understand that there's actually a better way to manage your close end processes. And and we hope that if you do interested, do reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to help you with those requirements. I think that's all from me. Ayu, over to you.
Thank you so much, William, for the great introduction and for helping us understand more about Pointstar Consulting. All right, so again, I would like to encourage you guys to submit questions throughout via the Zoom Q&A chat, and we will cover it at the end. Yeah, and we will also select the best questions to get a special gift from us. Also, make sure to fill out the feedback survey form shown on your screen for a chance to win our lucky draw at the end of this session. Okay, I will take a pause here for a few seconds for everyone can scan it first using your phone. Quite simple. After you scan, and you can click the link and you can start to fill out the survey form. Yeah, and then of course we will announce one of the lucky winner to win our great prizes. All right. Okay, so now let's move to our next speaker. Please join me in welcoming Tanner from NetGain, who will walk us through the key challenges finance professionals face during month-end close and how technology and automation can simplify the entire process. Hi there, Tanner. Are
Hi,
you
Ayu.
there?
Yes, can
Hello,
you hear me?
hello. Yeah, all good there. I think it's good evening at your place.
Yes.
Okay, then. I think over to you, Tanner.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ayu. Thank you, William, for the introduction, and thanks for having us today. And thank you, everybody, for taking some time to join us. My name's Tanner. As Ayu mentioned, I am on the partnerships team here at NetGain, where we work quite a bit with Pointstar, and we're excited to work with them further as Pointstar has become able to advise on our products. And so So my goal today, and to give you a little bit of an idea of where we're headed with this agenda. So I'll give a brief overview of NetGain, just adding a little bit into what William covered. We'll touch on some common challenges in the month-end close. The goal of today is to provide you with more resources as you look to improve your close processes inside of NetSuite. We'll touch on net close and net cash, two of our products that can really enhance the close process. I'll then pass it over to my colleague who's on the line now as well, Amanda, and she'll walk through a live demo of net close and net cash inside of NetSuite. And then we'll have some time towards the end for Q&A and passing it back to IU from there. So to give you a little bit of background in NetGain, so I always find that it's pretty helpful just to give you a sense of the different solutions that we've created, that we've built, and that we offer. So when you think of NetGain, think of accounting automation. We're a bunch of accountants turned to the NetSuite ecosystem. Our founders came from the accounting world. Many of us are CPAs, registered accountants. And yeah, so a bunch of accounting nerds that have turned to NetSuite. We offer a multitude of different solutions. I like to break those out by way of accounting solutions as well as NetSuite operational solutions. So a little bit more on the integration side of the house. So to run through the list quickly, I won't spend too much time here. We have a lease accounting solution, automates the full lease accounting lifecycle, an advanced fixed asset management system, providing more capabilities and flexibility in managing fixed assets. Shared transactions, this is our smart allocation tool to split transaction at the transaction line level across multiple entities or within the same entity. Net Loan is our loan management system for both lenders and for borrowers to automate the full loan accounting lifecycle. And then the last two, Net Close and Net Cash. This is where we'll be spending the bulk of the time. Net Close is our full close management system, all built inside of NetSuite, taking all of your close processes and storing them in your existing ERP system in NetSuite. I know there's a mix of folks who are current NetSuite users as well as folks that may be using a different ERP system and exploring NetSuite potentially. NetClose is fully housed inside of NetSuite. And NetCash, we consider it pretty much as an extension solution. It's a bank reconciliation module with enhancements to automate as much as possible when we're talking about auto matching bank transactions as well as cash application. And then over here, different integration tools, punch out tools, analytics. Won't spend too much time on that today, but just wanted to give you a little bit of a sense of the solutions that we offer. By way of customers we work with, we have somewhere in the range of 1,500 to 2,000 customers across the globe. I myself am based in the US. It's evening time for me, but I was pleased to be out in Singapore for Suite Connect about a month ago. So that's a little bit about us. Now jumping in, okay, so what are some common challenges in month-end close? And I certainly didn't list this as an exhaustive list, but just wanted to call out some key things that are common challenges that we hear among customers, clients, our own internal accounting team, what we experience as accountants. And so going down the list, visibility, challenge in month-end close, it can be difficult to, as a manager or a controller, assistant controller who's trying to monitor the full close process, how we're progressing, it can be tough to get visibility into that without a centralized tool, as well as collaboration. Maybe you have team members across different countries or different time zones, and it can be challenging if there's a lack of uniform processes. Account reconciliation tends to be time intensive and tends to be a lot of different data silos with systems in different places. I think because of so many different solutions out there, our intent is to kind of bring them all back to a core system, which also lends itself to more AI automation and kind of a centralized ERP, which is NetSuite in this case. Duplication of work, transactions coming in late. Maybe you've already reconciled certain accounts and then some transactions come in later on. We have some controls to prevent that, or at least allow users to be on top of that, to know when those come in. I mentioned this, multiple systems, fragmented information. The goal is to bring as much as we can into NetSuite, as well as one that won't be news to any of you, staffing constraints. As accountants, we're all increasingly becoming more and more expected to do more with less. Leveraging technology, becoming ever and ever more crucial. And so jumping in, okay, how can we help? NetClose, one of our tools, our close management solution, a lot of different components within NetClose. And I'll just breeze through these, and then Amanda will actually dive in and show you what these actually look like. But the overall goal of all of this is to increase the speed in which you can close the books, as well as increase the accuracy. And so different features within NetClose, task management. So this is designed to replace an existing close checklist, often seen in maybe you're using Google Sheets, maybe you're using an Excel file, maybe you're using some other platform to track the tasks that need to be performed with the close process. We're bringing that all into NetSuite. Subledger enhancements, this is just enhancing how accruals are managed, how amortizations are managed, and how those journals are being automated when prepayments and the subsequent amortizations are being booked. Reconciliations, mentioned time intense, a central repository to house all reconciliations, whether the subledger information is inside of NetSuite or whether it's stored in an outside subledger on a Google Drive or a SharePoint, being able to tie in those totals, pull them into NetSuite, compare them to real-time data to get accurate information on those account balances. Flex analysis, this is looking at overall strategic, high-level view, what's happening with my balances, income statement or balance sheet, to call out potential errors or just call out, hey, what are the trends that we're seeing in our business? Close controls, the ability to lock down subsidiaries, transactions, users. This comes in particular use when you have multiple subsidiaries, and maybe you're closing down one subsidiary at a time, but you want to lock that subsidiary, kind of a soft lock, so no transactions can be posted. We have controls around that, as well as dashboards, and dashboards can be personalized by role. And so overall, working to enhance the close process, making it more of a streamlined project management during month-end close. And then by way of extension, net cash, this is the bank reconciliation side, which is a lot of what the close is based off of, hey, what cash transactions are coming in, what cash payments are going out, how are we matching those? Within net cash, adding more dynamic matching rules with the goal of automating as many transactions, GL transactions, the bank transactions as possible, with robust rules, one-to-many, many-to-one, many-to-many matching abilities, transaction creation based on automation rules. Hey, maybe bank feeds are coming in. There's a bank fee that is reflected in the bank statement, but not in NetSuite. The ability to create journals on the fly during the bank reconciliation process. Cash application, applying payments to open bills and invoices, which at the same time closes out those bills and invoices, as well as matches them from a cash reconciliation standpoint. Cash transfers, if you deal with sweeps, maybe accounts are being swept from one bank account to another, the ability to auto create journal entries for those transfers. Again, dashboards and reports, reconciliation reports, a proof of cash, a direct cash flow statement, which is crucial in understanding the cash position of a company. And then lastly, talking about bank connections, how are we getting the bank information inside of NetCash? One of two ways: API connections are available in supported regions. We're working to get there in Southeast Asia. We're not there yet. When those are not supported, we have a smart upload tool, which is simply a drag and drop of CSV information from the bank. You templatize it once it's mapped, then every month it's a quick drag and drop, or every week, or whatever cadence you're performing cash reconciliations at. But so what's the purpose of these tools? The goal, again, is to expedite the close process, make it as streamlined as possible and more accurate. And so here's just one example of a company we worked with that adopted NetClose. Prior to adopting NetClose and some of our other tools, Jackie here says they were closing all month long. And that may not be too different than maybe what some of you have experienced, are experiencing, where it seems like the second you officially close one set of books for 1 month, you're right on to the next month. It's like a 30-day close. And in Jackie's case, AML Right Source, they were able to reduce their close time in half, going from 30 days to 15 days. And you may be thinking, well, 30 days, that's a really long time. Our close process is much faster than that. We can still help enhance that. And so another example is a company called Pura, where their close process before using NetClose was a little bit more advanced. They're closing it in 15 business days, maybe a little bit shorter. And then upon adopting net close, they were able to reduce it down to 7 days. And they're continually trying to condense the close process without sacrificing accuracy. And so that's the intent of net close and net cash. And I invite you, as Amanda goes through these tools, to just think, how could this improve our close process? It's not going to do anything magically, obviously, for you, but recognizing, hey, where could we have some benefits? Where could we cut down some time, reduce the time spent on these different tasks? Think through those things. Amanda provides this demo, and as questions arise, feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'll have some time for Q&A here. And so with that, I will pass it over to you, Amanda, to walk through first net close and then net cash.
Great. Thanks, Tanner. Right. So we're going to jump into NetSuite here. Let me go ahead and get my screen sharing. All right, so with NetClose, it is sort of an umbrella with separate modules within it, all geared towards accelerating your reconciliations, improving your accuracy, and trying to reduce any manual work. So starting off with your dashboard, this can be personalized with different tables or charts to identify KPIs and give you more visibility from like a management level of where things are at within the close. So you can see here that my tasks are 54% complete. My reconciliations are 56% complete. You have a couple different visualizations to help you see, as well as like accrual roll forward workbooks, or dashboard reconciliation statuses. So idea here is that you can get real-time insights into where things are at. Moving on to our actual task module. So I've got our task board pulled up. Tasks is going to allow you to formalize your processes. It's like that month-end checklist, all of the steps that you're doing each month. You can also use this for other activities, like if you wanted to track an implementation project or something within the tasks. So these are our different statuses. You can drag and drop the tasks as they advance to a different status. All of this layers in approval, so certain users would be able to move this to under review. Reviewers are then able to complete. Let's pop open one of our actual task records. So what you can see here is the assignee and the reviewer. You're able to assign an importance level and a risk level, as well as a time estimate. The nice thing about these inputs are that they're template based, so they can be a little bit of a living document as you get a better understanding of your close process. Maybe you're seeing that this is actually taking more like an hour versus half an hour. And then if you have the correct permissions, you can go ahead and update that template for all of the future months. Down below is where you have some ability to do an embedded chat feature. The value add here is that we're bringing all of our communication and prompting it through NetSuite, which means you have a really good trail of historical data. You're also able to set up dependencies. Dependencies are like an order of operations. So another task has to be completed before I'm able to move on and progress this task specifically. You can also break the task down into more granular steps. So again, we're trying to make this a little bit more streamlined. It also helps with like training and onboarding, right? So if we have good documentation in place, it's really easy for someone to step in, and you could have like a staff accountant who is responsible for generating the amortization entries in net lease. But then you have the assignee, which is their senior accountant, who's kind of managing the end-to-end process as a whole. You're also able to send emails. Those can be reminders. So a day before the task is due, we can push out a reminder, or it can be based on status. So we can let those reviewers know when the status of the task is ready for review. Documents is one of our newer adds here. So you can either upload completed documentation or deliverables, so it's easy to find within the task record, or at the template level, you can attach instructions. All right, our other module that we're covering today is the reconciliations. You can almost think of this as like a subtask, because when I pop open the record, it's going to look very familiar. It's just this has a narrower focus on your GL reconciliation. So you can see that we have a couple different filters above at the top, which is helpful for maybe isolating only the reconciliations that I'm responsible for, or the status. Couple different methods of reconciliation here. One of them is utilizing all of the data that is already in NetSuite to help prove out your balances and get your reconciliation. So a classic example here is fixed assets. You're posting depreciation entries to a fixed asset account. You then also have a depreciation schedule. So what's pulling through for that what's pulling through for the GL balances is going to be the actual depreciation journals. And then what's coming from our search is the subledger data of the depreciation schedule. That becomes my explained balance. So in a perfect world, we're going to have that unexplained balance of 0. But what's nice about it is if there is anything remaining here, it makes it easier to isolate and easier to dig into the variances. So that's one method of creating the reconciling items, is utilizing a saved search and looking at subledger data within NetSuite. The alternative to that is utilizing an external workbook. So this can be a workbook either on SharePoint or on Google Drive, and you're using a specific tag to identify the balances that should be pulling through as reconciling items. So I'll take just a quick second to pull that open for you and let you see. So this is an example of one of our reconciling items. You put the tag on one side, you put the memo on the other side. That then flows through, it's a two-way connection, over to your reconciliation record, and that becomes our reconciling items. If you need to have an open item, that's something like still under investigation. You can also manually create reconciling items from this screen. So those would be things like a correction. As you reconcile, as you generate your reconciliation each month, it's also going to roll forward that workbook, which is another way to help streamline or formalize processes. Other tabs that you have here, you are able to do reconciliations at a consolidation level or an individual sub. So if I am consolidating this, I'd be able to see the subsidiary specific accounts and activities. You're also able to look back at a prior reconciliation. So this can maybe help identify trends or major changes within an account. You have that chat feature again, which is the comments. And then everything else is sort of specific to reporting. So the approval helps you see a date stamp of when it's approved. History is more of like your NetSuite system notes. This is compatible with multi-book if you have clients, or if you are utilizing multi-book within NetSuite. All right. Next one that we're going to take a look at is our flex analysis. So this is period over period comparisons or budget to actual comparisons. So this is set up on a scenario level, and on that scenario, you're going to be designating different thresholds. So that's either a change percentage or a change amount that is significant enough that you want to take the time to go in and provide an explanation. This is one of our features that we do have overlay with AI, which can be really handy to give you an idea of what's going on. So an example here, if I find my prepaid account, we can see that this had a change of around $10,000, 16%. If I pop open that account, it's going to show me what period we are looking at as current in comparison. So it looks like we were comparing quarter to quarter. Down below is where you're able to see the AI explanation. This can really be as detailed or as narrow as you want. So if you want this to be only a paragraph long, or if you want it to be a page long, the AI is just utilizing your transaction data to look for patterns and trends. So it's going to be looking at the different transaction types. It can reference the memo. And then you're also able to provide additional AI context. So this is things that the AI can't directly derive from the transaction data. With those scenario inputs, you're also able to designate a large transaction threshold. So this is helping you see what's happening that's material within the account. You can see the transaction count data. So this is some of the things that the AI is going to be referencing. And then similarly with the reconciliation, if you've generated the previous period flux, you can look back at the previous period, maybe see if the context that was relevant in the prior period is still affecting the balances within this account. So those are kind of the core modules of NetClose. It's where you're probably going to be spending the most time. We do have a few other modules within NetClose, one of those being our locking transactions and account segments. You can think of this as a soft close of your NetSuite accounting periods, or it can come in after you've closed as an adjusting entry. So this allows you to lock by things like subsidiary or user or role. So an example here would be you've locked your accounting period. You need to make an adjusting entry. You want to make sure that you're protected from any sort of errors or unwanted changes. So you can lock down the accounting period for everyone except administrator. So again, this can either be throughout the close, like you're locking by subsidiary as you go, or it can come in after the fact to allow for those adjusting entries. Additionally, we also have accruals and amortizations. These have some subledger enhancements to some of the native solutions that you might be familiar with. So one of the enhancements to accruals is the ability to create from a search. So you can look at specific transactions that you want to create an accrual record. Both accruals and amortizations also allow you to do modifications. That's usually a big one for our amortizations module. So you can modify it over time, you can transfer it, terminate. So amortizations, it's just going to have an underlying schedule very similar to like a fixed asset. You run entries throughout the month and it tags it to the line of the amortizations. One of the big requests that we got pretty frequently on amortizations is to have a roll forward report. So a waterfall report is available with those amortizations module. All right, from there, we're going to transfer over to our net cash. So just to recap NetClose, the focus here is throughout the close process or at month-end close. We want to give you real-time data. It's all embedded within NetSuite, and it's helping provide better decision-making as you're able to get more access to accurate reports. From there, let's go ahead and transition. I'm just going to pull up another window real quick. So difference with net cash here is we're now looking at your bank transactions, your cash accounts, starting in a similar place of that dashboard or that landing page. This can give you some insight into things like transaction matching methods. So maybe how well are we utilizing auto match rules? How much time are we still spending on manual match? You're also able to see the moving cash balance. So you have this drop down here that will show you whether your cash is increasing or decreasing over different time periods. Unmatched transactions, this is going to drill down into a list. That's everything outstanding through your filtered date. One of our new things here is this AI insight. So again, looking for patterns, looking for trends, things that might be relevant, utilizing your bank data and your NetSuite GL data. I'm going to transition over to our automation rules. Essentially, there are a couple different flavors here to help automate the reconciliation. So auto match, this is capturing a bank transaction against a invoice payment, a bill payment, or a journal entry. We're utilizing things like the amount, the date. You can then customize it. It's really flexible in the way that you provide additional criteria. So like a common catch-all is that the description of your bank transaction partially matches the memo of your GL transaction. Another alternative or another type of your automation rule is a create transaction. So this is the idea that we need to actually create the offsetting GL transaction like that bank fee example or a refund scenario. And then the last type of automation rule is a transfer. So we have a cash outflow from one bank account, an inflow to another bank account, and we are creating the offsetting transaction to record that movement of cash. Nice thing about the transfers is it's able to facilitate just standard or intercompany, and it handles FX transactions. So if you're moving between bank accounts in different currencies. So with that foundational knowledge, let's talk about a day in the life of a NetCash user. So first off, we're going to utilize as much of that automation rule as we can. We're going to capture as many of the transactions as we can. Anything that is requiring approval is going to be here for you to look over and review. If something, oh, sorry, I think I have my tabs out of line here. Let me go right there. All right, so again, anything that was met a automation rule and is ready for you to review is going to be within this queue. You can filter by specific automation rules or confidence levels. The other thing that we've added here, so here we're looking at automation rules. Those are set up with the actual record backed to it. We also have kind of a new algorithm, which is called our NetGain Best Match. That's more of an AI match. So it doesn't have to have a rule specific to it, but it's going to look at these same inputs of like date, amount, memo, and it's more of suggested matches. With our automation rules, you are able to do grouped matching. So that's an example that we have here, where on the bank side, we might utilize a payment processor. That payment processor does a daily deposit. That daily deposit corresponds to multiple payments. And so by utilizing the memo or some sort of common logic, we're able to get that one-to-many or grouped matching. So again, this is our first stage. And a day in the life, we're going to match anything that meets an automation rule. Anything that is outstanding is then going to be in our manual match queue. Here we have our bank activity on the left, and we're starting with cash application, which is open bills or open invoices. So when you do the match from cash application, it creates the payment, applies it to the bank transaction, and then closes out the invoice or bill. Little bit different from our bank to GL match, which is just those standard bill payments, invoice payments, or journal entries. This is probably what you're most familiar with as you're doing the bank rec. You're going to have the ability here to search or isolate activity. You can also manually create a transaction from here. The last tab that we have here is those bank transfers. So we're switching over and looking at bank activity on both sides. Again, identifying that cash outflow and that cash inflow. Now we're going to look at our review matches page. So this is your history or your log of all of your matches. You're able to identify how your transactions were matched. If they were manually matched, I can see who performed it. If it was an auto match, I can see what inputs essentially justified that. You can dig in or open up the individual records. So our bank transactions have an underlying record to them that you're able to look into and review. If you go over to the GL transaction, you're able to view it here or go down to the actual NetSuite view that you're probably more familiar with. And then if necessary, I can unmatch from here. So at the end of the month, when all of my activity has been cleared, we have a sign off or our reconciliation record. So by filtering for an account and a date, I'm given my current bank balance and GL balance. If there are any outstanding items, it's going to give you a drill down that you're able to review from. We have this hard code control with the statement ending balance. So the idea is that you're pulling up the PDF statement and you're validating that the balance ties to the calculated bank balance in NetCash. And that is like your sign off or your record of a completed reconciliation. This does have logic built into it to calculate or catch balance changed. So if a transaction that is completed in this reconciliation, if the amount changes or the date changes, it's then going to flag the status here as balance changed, essentially letting you know that you need to revisit that reconciliation. In terms of reports with NetCash, I wanted to show you our new direct cash flow report. So this is utilizing both the cash information and the GL information to put together a direct cash flow. So we're starting off at that summarized view. I'm able to drill down into any of these sections to see the specific vendors. If you do your detailed view, it's going to give you all the way down to the transaction level. Again, you can change which subsidiary you're consolidating at. And then this is another one of our modules that we have enhanced to allow for AI. So this is a chat feature. So I can ask specific questions, like if you want to see how much of the balance that was cash paid to suppliers was for purchase of inventory, or in what countries were we paying taxes. Like, it's able to do analysis like that by utilizing the data that you have within this direct cash flow. Other reports that you get with net cash, you do have a proof of cash. This is like a 4-column report that's going to show you your debit activity, your credit activity, and then your beginning and ending balances. You also have every type of activity. So if you're wanting an export of all of your bank activity or all of your GL activity, it's really accessible because all of it lives within NetSuite. So I think I'm pretty close to time on wrapping up. Hopefully this has been helpful, and love to answer any questions about how this could add value and improve your close process. I think I'm passing it back to Ayu.
All right, nice, Amanda. What an insightful and practical demo we have today. So, yeah, I think before we move on into the Q&A session, I will remind you, everyone's to fill out the feedback survey form, which is now shown on your screen. Yep, that's the one. I will give a pause a little bit in seconds for everyone's scan first using your mobile phone. Yes, okay. Or someone can share the link in the Q&A chat. Yeah. Okay, that's the one. I think one of the PointStars teams already shared the link. Just click there. Yep. And fill out the form. Then you will get a chance to win our lucky draw at the end of this webinar. Okay, all cool? All right. So I think now we move to Q&A session. I will call out all of the speakers, I guess. Tanner, Amanda, and William to join with me. Yep, on cam. Yep, to join with me all together to answer the questions one by one. I will read through that. Yep. Okay, so now the first question, I would like to give this to oh, hang on, yeah, to Amanda first, probably. From Vijaya. Amanda, how to activate net close and net cash in the current NetSuite setup?
Yeah, great question. So NetClose and NetCash are going to be apps that you can download. We do provision it for you based on kind of your licensing. So NetCash is going to be looking for a specific number of users. Sorry, NetClose is going to be available for a certain number of users. NetCash will be validated for certain accounts. So that's just working with the NetGain team to get you the licensing that you need, and then you'll download the bundle.
I see. Okay. Hope that will be answering your questions, Vijaya. If you still have any more questions, then feel free to drop another one in the Q&A chat. Yeah. So moving on to.
I just want to add to that questions. Feel
Okay,
free to
Ken.
reach out to PointStar team, right? We should be able to work with you, you know, obviously identify your requirements, right? Then I can bring in Tanners and Amanda into the discussions. Then of course, then, you know, we need to discuss about the commercials as well. I think I'm more than happy to help you. You know, if you started to reach out to us, we should be able to help you with your inquiry.
Yep, that's right, William. Hey, okay, again, moving on to another questions here. We've got, I think this goes to Tanner. From Sandifati, Tanner, what features in NetGain are most valuable for CFOs and controllers specifically?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's one that would come with the answer of it. It depends on your line of business of what's going to be most relevant to you. If you're in an asset intensive business, There'll be a handful of tools that will be most valuable, but overarching, the tools that will have the broadest impact across all industries will more than likely be this net close tool, because everybody has to close their books, as well as net cash because everyone performs bank reconciliations. If we look to some of our other net gain tools, there's a fixed asset tool, a lease tool, a loan tool, but not all businesses will have a ton of fixed assets or leases or loans. And so net close and net cash tend to be the most broadest reaching tools.
I see. What do you think also, William, because you're often, of course, speaking with CFOs, controllers, things, what
Yeah.
features do you think from NetGain?
Yeah, I mean, I think I have to agree with Tanner, right? I think month-end close activities and, transaction matching, as a CFO, and your team will never be able to run away from it, right? That's something that you do week, month in, month out, every year, right? And especially, right, a CFO is responsible for making sure that the book comply with whatever regulation in place, and that just put more emphasis to how, as a CFO, especially when the business is expanding, how do you make sure the CFO can, by the end of the day, they can sleep soundly, right, without having to worry that, their book has not been done properly. So I think will have to agree with Tanner on that one.
All right. Okay. Okay, next one. I would like to read this. I think this is 3 questions coming from Swan. I think it will goes to all of you, the speakers, Tanner, Amanda, or William. So first is, if our PIC is assigned on entity level, can the allocation of work here be separate by entities and assigned to different PIC? For example, fixed asset depreciation for entity A assigned to PIC A, and then fixed asset depreciation for entity B assigned to PIC B. That one first, probably Tanner or Amanda or William. This is so technical, yeah.
Yeah, I can answer, and Amanda, you keep me honest here. The short answer is yes. So within net close, you saw that Amanda showed the task management or kind of the checklist steps. So one of the benefits of that is that you can segregate it by entity. And so in the example of, hey, we're looking to reconcile fixed asset depreciation for entity A for one individual, and then entity B, another individual. Yes, you can absolutely separate those tasks across the different entities.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree. And you have a couple different ways to structure it and set it up. So it could be that you have like individual tasks themselves for different entities, or they can just be separate steps within a similar task. A couple different ways to be flexible. It looks like the next question is looking more at the locking. So are you able to close entity by entity? That is where that locking tool comes into play, and you are able to lock by subsidiary. It also has the option to have like a tiered locking as well. So you can start off at the subsidiary and you can lock by subsidiary and transaction type, or subsidiary and user. So it has pretty in-depth logic to it, but the short answer is yes, you can lock by entity at a time.
And one point, just because I know we get this question a lot. So this does not replace the NetSuite locking natively. We consider this a soft lock, and you can set up rules that if transactions try to post onto a locked entity, you can set up different rules of how you want that to be handled. If you want it to be blocked entirely, if you want it to push to the next open period. But yeah, just emphasis that NetSuite you'll still lock, but this is a soft lock that you do. Once you lock everything, then you lock down your NetSuite instance for the period.
The third question from still from Swan. I think Amanda can also help. The setting up taking quite some significant time for net close. What if when there are change in tasks related, like new categories to add it into cater?
Yeah, so on the implementation side, we tend to break it up into those modules. So you pick what's your top priority if you're starting with tasks or you're starting with reconciliations, and we kind of dedicate resources module at a time. The average implementation is probably somewhere between 3 to 4 months. That's where you're going to have direct access to an implementer. They're going to help you usually do a weekly check-in. We can move faster than that, or sometimes, it takes a little bit longer if we're still building those close processes. If there are changes, so like that task template can be updated in real time. So maybe you have an individual that is leaving the company, you're reallocating their tasks. You can update the template in real time. You can also update the templates or add new tasks with a CSV upload. So that's how the templates will be created during implementation, is with a CSV upload from an Excel file. And then you're able to kind of make updates to it in real time using the UI.
I see. Sounds
And
what okay,
one
go
add
ahead.
to that, that's where you can really leverage William and the broader PointStar team who are equipped to perform these implementations and can advise more broadly across the whole NetSuite environment, because they have that broad experience across NetSuite, whereas we're kind of experts in our solution, and so we'll work hand in hand with the PointStar team.
Okay. All right. I think I will need to give like one more question to be answered. Apologize, I cannot read all of these questions, but feel free, of course, after this webinar. Yeah, we can
I
reach out.
actually
Yep.
can help answer 2 questions in one go.
Okay.
I think one from Elisa Chong and the other one from Saubat Kumar, right? So yeah, so normally how it works is that we will need to bring the data in, then we can use the net cache to do the transaction matching. And we do have another solution we can apologies. So within PointStar, we develop bank connectivity already, right? Do reach out to us. Basically, both of your questions really relate to bank connectivity, right? So we partners with a company called Acme, and we can do multiple different activities, whether pulling your transaction data or pushing for online payment. Relating to your questions, once we pull in the data, then we can use Netcash to do all the transaction matching.
All right. Thanks, William.
Mhm.
Okay. I think that's all for now. Again, all of this question, we already save it, everything, and our team, of course, after this webinar, will reach out to you, right, to give more information, based on your questions. Yeah. Okay. Now I think, while the speakers are still here, before we take photo, yeah, I think I would like to announce the winners of our giveaways for the best questions. Okay, because many questions here, but of course we need to choose only 2 of you. Yeah. Okay, I will announce. Congratulations to Vijaya and Swan. Okay, Vijaya and Swan, congratulations. Our team will contact you to redeem your gift after this webinar. Okay, thank you. So thank you so much, William, Tanner, and Amanda, for the insightful information of today's webinar. Thank you. Goodbye. Have a good day, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. So, but please stay for the audience until this end of this webinar, because we still have the lucky draw. Don't forget. So I think this is your last chance for everyone, yeah, to fill out the feedback survey form for a chance to win a great prize from us. Please scan the QR code now on your screen if you haven't done so already, yeah? Okay, I just give it a pause a little bit, and team, please also share the link so it will be also easier for everyone to click on it and fill out the feedback survey form. Okay, before I announce the lucky draw winner, please stay there, yeah? Let's recap and reflect what we have learned today. As shared earlier, according to a recent report by the Business Times Singapore, more than 70% of mid-sized companies in Southeast Asia experience delays in financial reporting due to disconnected systems and manual reconciliation processes. CFOs across the region are under constant pressure to cut costs, gain real-time visibility, and close the books faster, all while managing with lean teams. That's exactly what today's webinar was all about, to help finance leaders like all of you overcome this month and bottlenecks without switching systems through the integrated power of Pointstar Consulting and NetGain. During Amanda's live demo, we saw how NetClose and NetCash, both native to NetSuite, empower finance teams to tackle more challenges like fragmented collaboration, delayed reconciliations, and lack of control. With features like task management checklists, real-time subledger reconciliation, automated fluctuation analysis, and dynamic bank matching rules, finance operations can be streamlined significantly. What stood out is the native integration inside NetSuite. No third-party platforms, no data gaps, just seamless workflow automation with a familiar environment. As Tanner highlighted, companies like AML RightSource and Pura have already cut their close times by more than 50% using these tools. The takeaway is clear. You don't need to overhaul your systems to modernize your finance situation. With the right solutions delivered through a trusted partner like Pointstar Consulting, you can shorten your month-end close, improve compliance, and future-proof your finance operation. Okay? All right, I think it's time for the lucky draw. Team, are you guys ready to spin the wheel? Okay, I think, yeah, there is it. All right. I think now let's spin the wheel to see who our lucky winner is. Please roll. Okay, who's it? Wow, nice. Congratulations, Karisma Dayat. We'll be in touch with you shortly to coordinate your prize delivery, yeah? Congratulations. Okay, I think it's a wrap. We hope you found today's session insightful and valuable. A big thank you again to our distinguished speakers by today, William from Pointstar Consulting and Tanner, also Amanda from NetGain. The recording and resources will be sent to your email shortly, and all the winners today will be contacted by our team for prize delivery. Don't forget to check our website, www.pointstar-consulting.com, and connect with us on our social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And stay tuned for more exciting webinars and events in the future. Until next time, stay connected, stay integrated. I'm Ayu, MC for today, signing off. Bye-bye.